All right, so next let's go and get the file of the woman underwater. So here we go, double click on woman, and here we are. Okay, let's just go ahead and drag this into our project. It's going to be in Mug, so that's fine. Okay, so the first one, let's just lower the opacity to about 50 so we can see both of what's happening here. Okay, hit Command T or free transform right here, and let's go ahead and shrink her a bit. I would put her somewhere here, a little smaller, just to be under the line over here. So something like this, and a little higher here so we can have some of that light. It looks like it's reflecting off here, which is nice. All right, so something like this is pretty good. Hit return. Okay, so let's call this woman. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a few different layers of her. The first one we're going to do a 35%, just to lower, just to have a little bit of her in normal. Okay, and we'll change. We can change her mask in a second, but for now let's just leave it like this. And then we're going to make a copy here, and this one is going to be at 100%, but in screen mode. All right. So that was before and after. We'll go ahead, like I said, we're going to go and mask some parts out. And then we're going to make another one on top. This one at 50. And let's put this one at overlay. I'm just going to add a little bit of contrast, which I like in here. Now there's another one that I'd like to do. And this is kind of a strange, it's not that strange. Here, I'll show you. So let's put this back at 100 and back to normal. And this one, however, we have to turn into a smart object. And the reason for that is we're going to apply a blur, a Gaussian blur of about 10. All right. I'm trying to give a bit of underwater lighting. Okay. And with underwater, with this blur, let's do color dodge. Okay. You see how it kind of burns some of these areas out. So I don't want it all that much. I don't want it too much. And if you look before and after, it's a little too strong in some areas. But maybe if we tone this down, say 80, something like this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do some selective areas on this. So I want it to show up in certain places. So we're going to hold down the Alt key and hit the mask button, which puts a black mask as opposed to a white one. And then hit B for brush. And let's go and put this opacity up about 50. The places I really want it is right here. This is very important. Right here. I want a little bit here and a little bit on her face, but no more than 50%. Something like this. Okay. I want it to look like there's interesting light refractions happening on her from the glass. Okay. Next, I'm going to select all these layers. So shift click. I had the top one and I shift click down here. And I hit Command G or just group. And we can call this group woman. And now put a mask and put black in the front, and let's make it 100%. And now we're going to mask out where she's supposed to appear, and certainly not outside of the glass, and certainly not outside of the liquid. So here, I'll put a little bit of a bigger brush. I want some of the glass to show through here. Not too much. Let's go a little lower than for the rest here. 50%. Let's go here a little bit, here. So that's pretty good. Get some of the glass back in there. Like so, like so. Okay. A little bit at the top. Okay, good. And let's just go back to white, 100% smaller. I just want to make sure that her face is in no way masked out. So there we go. Got a little bit back there, maybe a little bit of her foot. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's see what we did here. We had the woman at 35% just to get a little bit of that flat pixel in there. Then we had the screen, which really lightens it up. And then we had the overlay, which adds a little bit of contrast. And then we had the blurred color dodge to give some of these areas that feel of underwater lighting. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's one thing that's bugging me a little bit, which is this light over here. This blue is kind of passing the liquid. So let's go and see where that's happening. I believe it's here. Okay, so let's go into here, and with a black mask, let's just mask this out. Oop, not too much. Let's go a little lower in opacity here. Just trying to get, there we go. Another problem with this is that the glass is needs a little more contrast. So let's go ahead and go here in curves. So I'm adding a curves, and let's just lighten the highlights and darken the shadows a little bit. Something like this, maybe even more. Something like this. Okay, let's see. Before, after. Could do a little better than that, I think. Let's lighten it even further. And maybe the dark point just a little lighter. So let's see now. Before, after. Got rid of too much detail down here, so let's just try to lighten everything in the midtones, like so, and just a touch darker in the shadows. Before, after. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, we're gonna do some more edits to improve this even further, but for now I'm pretty happy with that. So, okay, another thing we're going to do is add a little bit of glow. So to do that, we're going to command click on the mug layer. What that does is it selects all the pixels on that layer. So in this case, just the mug. Okay, and then let's just put this up at the top here. We're going to create a new layer and make it a clipping mask so it's on the mug. We'll call this glow. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and fill this. Doesn't matter really with what we're filling. It could be anything. Foreground color, black, white. Let's do black just so we see what we're doing. And then let's deselect. Okay, so right now you see that it's just a filling with black. However, you have a little fill here. So we're going to do, actually double click on the layer here, not on the name, right after the name. And that opens up the layer styles. And another way to get the layer styles, by the way, is just go in here while that layer is selected, and you have blending options, and here we go. So in here we got inner glow. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. So inner glow, and I want about 95. This is actually the settings that I had earlier. So 95 and 23 is pretty much what I want. Maybe a little stronger. Let's go a little stronger than 23. Let's do 27 and maybe 90, something like that. Okay. All right. So now I want to not have the fill. So the black, I want it to be completely gone. So I'm going to lower the fill completely. And now you see that it's just the glow. All right. But I don't want it everywhere, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a black mask. But if I reveal now using a brush, because it's all black, right? So it's hiding everything. If I go in here, go 100%, and I unmask some areas, the glow is happening around the mask. So that's a problem. To fix that, you double click on the side here, which brings up the layer style. And in this, you have this option right at the beginning in blending options, layer mask hides effects. So check that, and there you go. Now the mask, so the glow is all around and the mask is revealing it. It's not changing the shape. So that's what we want. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, go back to this mask over here, and black to conceal. I'm just going to hide everything again, and we'll start over. So where do I want the glow? I want it here for sure on this side. Get a little bit of light. I want it down here, so it looks like there's some reflection from the floor or the ground. Down here, a little bit here. Certainly up here, a little bit on the side over here. Let's see what it looks like over here. This is kind of nice. So you don't want it everywhere because you want it to be slightly uneven. And the nice thing about the layer style is if I want to come and edit it, I can always double click and change. I can make it blurrier, etc. Okay, so this is pretty good. Let me just hide a little bit here, maybe a little bit here. Some places where it's a little too much. There we go. I want it a little uneven. A little bit over here. Nope, don't want that. Okay. All right, so there we go. We have the glow, add a little contrast, and we dropped the woman in here, so pretty good. All right.